As a parent, one of our goals, I think, is probably to shape our children's character. And we see that in a lot of areas of their life. But I found that I wanted to also shape their sexual character. And what was it going to take for me to do that? I started at a very young age when my children were really preschoolers. And I tried to take as many opportunities as I could because it's such a daunting task. Our culture would tell us that this is a teenage conversation, that it's so complicated and there are so many ramifications to having the talk. And our culture's kind of built on that premise. But this is a totally revolutionary way to approach it. And the revolution is this: start when they are so young, before you really think that this is something they need to hear about. It actually is something that they are curious about on a very simple level when they're small. When they're small, you can talk about their bodies and how they're supposed to take care of them. You can, in very simple and small ways, bring up illustrations to them that help them recognize that their sexuality is a part of their being, but that is a beautiful part for later in life. My parents never talked to me about sex at any age. And they were loving and wonderful parents. And I learned a lot just by the things that they did. And yet, I feel now that for parents, our children are getting so many confusing messages about sex, even at an early age. They're hearing things on television, or they might stumble across a website, or even the doctor's office or the grocery store, just seeing things on magazines. They're getting a lot of messages that can be confusing. And I wanted to be clear with my children about what our family values were as far as their sexuality. I wanted them to feel good about knowing that in our family we could talk about sex. I knew that was not going to happen if we waited to have an awkward conversation at an awkward age. That was just asking too much. And so as I considered how was I going to do this, this was an overwhelming task in my mind because I didn't know what it was going to look like. But we started when they were young. Dave and I started with bath time, with snack time, with meal time, just in the everyday things of life. And that means that you can put away that dreading having the talk part of parenting, because you will have had so many small conversations along the way that it will just be a part of their childhood.